Chapter 4029. Planting the Fruit. Billions of true spirits were seized, the world burial failed, and the wrath of the world will shook the universe.
You court death.
Those three furious words became boundless power, smashing into the formation over the origin continent. This was supposed to be its world, under its complete control, yet now it had become someone else's, a barrier in its path. With a roar, the world will struck, but the formation remained unscathed. The formation gathered all the origin continent's source spirit veins, drew on millions of Taoists within the world, and used the divine continent cauldron to channel great Tao origin energy as its core. The formation possessed unimaginable might, easily blocking the world will's assault. The world will's power came from the world itself, but so did the formations. It was like the world will attacking itself naturally, it had no effect. While the formation was unharmed, the strong ones on the outer great Tao were not so lucky. Even the aftershocks made them cough blood and suffer serious injuries. Some weaker cultivators died on the spot. Even Tao lords were hard-pressed. The power of both the world will and Lin Moyu's formation far surpassed theirs.
Retreat! You can't watch this fight.
A Tao lord roared, fleeing with his people in panic. Their faces were full of fear, for only at their level could they sense just how terrifying that strike had been. They knew what that figure in the heavens was. The world will, the true master of this world. Tao lords were like ants before it. Only now did they realize how powerful Lin Moyu had become to dare challenge such an existence. Someone suddenly understood.
No wonder all those Tao lords faked their deaths and revived it was to escape the world will's control.
They didn't know how Lin Moyu did it, but they could guess his goal. After its first strike failed, the world will attacked again. This time, it didn't just shout, it raised its hands and smashed down with giant fists. Lin Moyu ignored it, continuing to seize true spirits. By now, he had taken a third of all true spirits. As their number dwindled, each remaining true spirit was protected by more world power, making them harder to take.
Retreat!
The Tao lords, seeing the world will's true assault, turned pale and fell back even farther. 10 million miles wasn't enough. They fled 100 million miles. Even so, they still felt the shockwaves, but at least had a chance to survive. They unleashed all their power to defend themselves and their followers, not knowing if it would help, but having to try. Boom! The giant fists slammed into the formation, making it tremble and warp as if about to break. At that moment, countless figures flew out from Yuedao City. Hao Daozuan, Sword Daozuan, Little Mei, Little Wu, and others. They took their places above the city, activating a formation that merged with the continent's formation. With operators, the formation's power instantly stabilized and grew stronger. A giant figure appeared atop the formation, and the divine continent cauldron flew into its hand, transforming. The giant wielded the cauldron and smashed it at the world will. This was Lin Moyu's backup plan. The formation was not just for defense, but could also attack by manifesting a giant. Lin Moyu had taught Hao Daozuan, Little Mei, and the others how to control it so they could operate it together. Meanwhile, Xiao Jin and Xiao Pang also charged at the world will. Though weaker, they were not powerless. The world will roared in anger, furious that these
ants
dared challenge its authority. Life and death should be in its hands, yet now it was on the defensive. The formation's giant clashed with the world will's giant. The world will was strong, and as it adapted, it began to gain the upper hand. But suddenly, its aura plummeted and it fell to a disadvantage. In the soul void, billions of undead servants attacked the origin continent, tying up part of the world will's power and forcing it to fight on two fronts, weakening it.
Lin Daoist, I'm here!
Came a clear voice, and Yuyan, Lord of Cause and Effect, had arrived. Originally, Lin Moyu hadn't planned to call for outside help. He was strong enough on his own. But with the world will awakening early, he decided to have an Yuyan assist. He got straight to the point.
Senior, please plant a cause and effect.
And Yuyan asked softly,
What fruit do you want me to plant?
Lin Moyu pointed at the world will.
Let it destroy my true spirit, but not the others. The result, it dies, I live.
and Yuyen frowned.
That goes against the rules, Lin Taoist. Do you know the price? Name your price.
Lin Moyu replied. She shook her head.
It's hard to say. Better you tell me what you can offer.
Lin Moyu thought, then produced a treasure bottle.
Will this do?
The bottle was refined from the essence of a Great Tao Wild Beast King and contained 10,000 drops of Great Tao origin energy. To ensure success, Lin Moyu was willing to pay a steep price. He didn't use ordinary beast essence. And Yuyen's eyes lit up.
Essence of a wild beast king. You even refined it into a bottle. What's inside? See for yourself.
Lin Moyu said, and Yuyen opened it and gasped.
Ancestral water essence.
But then she shook her head.
No, that's not it. What is this? This is something I refined from countless Great Taos. I call it Great Tao Origin Energy.
Lin Moyu explained.
Great Tao Origin Energy.
And Yuyen repeated, then made her decision.
All right, I accept. I'll take all the karmic consequences myself. Please specify exactly what you want, so I don't make a mistake.
There was only one chance to plant the cause, so it couldn't go wrong. Lin Moyu explained his request in detail, and Yuyen asked several questions to confirm. Lin Moyu noticed that after seeing the Great Tao origin energy, and Yuyen became even more respectful. She already treated him as an equal due to his status as a Great Tao Lord's reincarnation. But now there was clear respect, likely because she believed he could surpass her in the future. At her level, she understood how rare and precious Great Tao origin energy was. After confirming the details, and Yuyen summoned the cause and effect Great Tao. With a thought, invisible power shot into the world will.
Plant the fruit.
With a soft command, the world will's eyes blazed with light, and in the next instant, Lin Moyu's soul shattered. Chapter 40-30. Staging a grand drama. The Lord of the Great Tao of Cause and Effect personally planted the fruit, pushing the power of causality to its peak. Lin Moyu hadn't originally planned to call in Yuyen for help, but he noticed something unusual with his own true spirit imprint. The world will seemed suspicious of him and was paying special attention to his imprint. He worried that if he faked his death as usual, he might end up like Antares, unable to break free from the origin continent. Moreover, he couldn't take his own true spirit imprint away. In a flash, he thought of a solution. Have the world will itself kill him, and make the world will believe he was truly, utterly dead. Only then would it completely relinquish his true spirit imprint, allowing him to escape. To do this, he needed to influence the world will, a nearly impossible task. That's why he thought of an Yuyen. With her status and power, she could use the force of causality to affect the world will, which would be hard for it to resist or even notice. Once an Yuyen planted the fruit, the world will went berserk. It already saw Lin Moyu as a mortal enemy, and now it was desperate to destroy him.
Kill you! Kill you!
The world will roared madly. The undead servants continued to battle it, further fueling its rage. And Yuyen murmured,
Its hatred for you runs deep. Why plant another fruit?
Lin Moyu replied,
Just to be sure. You can never be too careful. This thing has destroyed 2 eras before. It's extremely cautious. Even though my preparations make it hard for it to wipe out an era again, there's no telling what tricks it might still have.
And Yuyen said,
Your caution is truly unmatched.
Lin Moyu answered,
After so much planning, I can't afford any mistakes at the end.
She agreed.
For the world will, it's just bad luck to have met someone like you.
Indeed, the origin continent's world will was unlucky. It had been outmaneuvered step by step while it slept, and now it was trapped. Killing it wasn't difficult for Lin Moyu, but before that, he needed to let it kill him first, and make it look natural without arousing suspicion. With Yuyen's fruit planted, the risk was minimized. And Yuyen asked,
Your immortal jade needs time to restore you. Should I guard you during that period?
Lin Moyu smiled and said nothing, but she could tell he already had arrangements. She watched with interest, as if enjoying a grand play. The drama unfolded in both the real and virtual worlds, and Yuyen watched both, missing nothing. Far away, the discernment beast also listened intently, which for it meant seeing he, too, watched the battle unfold. Back in the real world, Lin Moyu left the space of true spirit imprints. He had already taken most of them. The remaining ones were so tightly wrapped in world power that taking them would waste too much time. So he decisively gave up and charged into the outer Great Tao to battle the world will. After being affected by An Yuyan's fruit, the world will went completely mad, unleashing all its power. The situation reversed under the pressure of Lin Moyu's formation giants. The world will had been losing, but now it regained the upper hand. Lin Moyu's own intervention didn't seem to change much. His Tao Lord level combat power was insignificant at this level. Still, his appearance drew many eyes.
It's Lin Moyu. He's finally appeared. Why is he fighting personally? With his strength, he shouldn't get involved. Maybe he's desperate. After all, he's only using tricks to gather these powers, which should belong to the world will. The formation can't last forever if he can't win quickly. He'll lose in the end.
Many discussed, thinking Lin Moyu was panicking because he couldn't win. But those with sharp eyes saw that while his skills were impressive for a Tao Lord, he was still far below the world will. Without the three giants, he'd have been crushed long ago. It seemed their suspicions were confirmed. The giant's power was waning, and Lin Moyu's anxious expression grew more intense. Some Tao Lords whispered,
The formation's power is running out, so he's desperate. He's doomed. He's been too overbearing for years. Now it's time to pay. There can't be two tigers on one mountain. With the world will here, there's no need for another like him. I think it's a shame if he dies. He's done a lot of good. It would be a waste to lose someone like him.
Everyone had their own opinions. Lin Moyu continued his act, growing more anxious and fighting harder. But to little effect, he only provoked the world will further. The three formation giants' auras continued to weaken, as if their power was truly running out. The world will's killing intent intensified, ready to strike him down. In the soul void, it was the same. Countless undead servants fell, and the world will gain the upper hand. Lin Moyu, too, looked troubled in the soul void, just as he did in reality. And Yuyan watched and secretly laughed.
He really can act.
She knew Lin Moyu was faking. He was trying to fool the world will into thinking he was finished. She thought he was right. This way he'd be absolutely safe. But considering her own fruit, she thought Lin Moyu might be overly cautious. Once the fruit was planted, the world will would kill him anyway. Her Tao of cause and effect was not to be trifled with. Still, she was just doing her job. Whoever won, she'd be the winner. Suddenly, Lin Moyu muttered,
As expected, those two have arrived.
And Yuyan was surprised who had come. The next moment, she sensed others approaching. In the real world, Lin Moyu was completely overwhelmed, about to die at any moment. Suddenly, a voice thundered,
Stop!
A beam of light shone from afar. The god of light charged into the world, appearing in the void. Chapter 4031. Two Clowns. In the real world, the god of light suddenly descended in a blaze of radiance, exuding the aura of a great Tao Lord. His pressure swept across the origin continent, and he was no weaker than the world will itself. But the world will paid him no mind, slapping at Lin Moyu, intent on killing him.
I said stop.
The god of light unleashed 10,000 rays of light, blocking the strike for Lin Moyu. The world will abruptly turned to the god of light.
You dare to stop me?
Now, reason was clouded by rage. Anyone who tried to stop it from killing Lin Moyu was an enemy, a mortal foe. The god of light frowned, flicking a beam of light that exploded in the void.
Purify.
The radiance illuminated the outer great Tao. For a moment, a trace of reason appeared in the world will's eyes, but it was quickly replaced by murderous fury. The god of light was stunned. His purification technique had no effect. Then he realized what was happening with the world will and cried out,
Karma, the eye of karma.
He saw that the world will had been marked, and by none other than the Lord of Karma. His power could not affect the Lord of Karma's mark. Lin Moyu looked at the god of light, his lips moving as a voice entered the God of Light's soul.
But out!
The God of Light froze for a moment, then roared.
Your business is my business. If you want to die, it won't be that easy.
Only Lin Moyu understood the true meaning. Others thought the God of Light was protecting him. A being above, even the great Tao Lord, had appeared to stop the world will from killing Lin Moyu. Everyone thought Lin Moyu would be saved, but he only sighed, a little helpless.
I knew you'd come. Good thing I was prepared.
The God of Light grinned.
Then let's see.
Suddenly, the space of the outer great Tao shattered, and the discernment beast's phantom appeared. Without a word, it let out a deep roar and charged at the God of Light. The God of Light recognized the discernment beast and knew how strong it was. With a startled cry, he immediately retreated, his eyes full of fear. He couldn't understand why the discernment beast would help Lin Moyu. But there was no time to think. An eternal being, even just a phantom, was not weaker than himself. The God of Light, cherishing his life, fled at once. In the soul void, and Yuyan watched and chuckled.
So this was Lin Daoist's backup plan.
Lin Moyu laughed.
There's still one more. Should I ask you to come out?
And Yuyan was surprised. She followed Lin Moyu's gaze, though nothing seemed to be there. She sensed something unusual. Someone was hiding, and not many could hide from her, at least a great Tao Lord, and one skilled at concealment. Counting them, there were only one or two possibilities.
Lord of Darkness.
And Yuyan named the intruder. The void twisted, and the Lord of Darkness revealed himself.
Lin Daoist, long time no see.
Lin Moyu smiled.
Didn't expect you to return from the origin ancestral land. Looks like you've already met the God of Light.
The Lord of Darkness replied in a deep voice.
That's right. Today you want to die, but I won't let you.
Lin Moyu sighed.
Not even allowed to die, what a headache. I figured you two would come.
He called out.
Human Sovereign, would you mind?
A voice answered from the void.
No problem.
In an instant, the human sovereign appeared before the Lord of Darkness and threw a punch. The human sovereign was always decisive. If there was a fight, he fought, no need for words.
Human Sovereign!
The Lord of Darkness cried, throwing a punch in return. The void shook, cracks spreading everywhere. The Lord of Darkness was blasted away, screaming he was no match for the human sovereign in raw power. In terms of realm, the human sovereign was eternal, while he was only a great Tao Lord. The human sovereign gave him no chance to recover, shattering the void and chasing after him. The Lord of Darkness fled in disgrace, and whether he could survive the human sovereign's pursuit was uncertain, let alone interfere with Lin Moyu. And Yuyan hadn't expected the once mighty Lord of Darkness to become a beaten dog so quickly. She looked at Lin Moyu.
You really planned this well.
Lin Moyu replied.
It's not that I'm so clever. I've made many enemies, but also some friends, so I had to be prepared. The God of Light and Lord of Darkness might not have come, but just in case, I needed a countermeasure.
He didn't take the two of them seriously, he just didn't want them to ruin his plan. With the discernment beast and human sovereign driving off these two clowns, the world will in the real world, once again blinded by rage, rushed at Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu was once more in mortal peril. The onlookers were stunned, not knowing what had just happened.
Weren't those people here to help Lin Moyu? It seemed like it, but maybe not. Who was that giant beast? It looked terrifying. This world has too many secrets. I can't figure out what Lin Moyu is really after.
Everyone felt Lin Moyu was a walking mystery, a super enigma, impossible to fathom. The God of Light and Lord of Darkness were chased away like two clowns, and everything seemed to return to the starting point. The three formation giants seemed to recover a bit of strength, but soon fell behind again. This time, Lin Moyu's situation was even worse than before. After being interrupted, the world will seemed even stronger. Lin Moyu began to fight desperately, pushing his Tao Lord power to the limit, as if even his soul was burning. But it was useless against the world will. He was utterly suppressed by its repeated attacks. The three formation giants were beaten back to the origin continent, leaving Lin Moyu to face the world will alone. A giant palm descended, blocking out the sky and smashing down on Lin Moyu. His body was crushed, his soul obliterated. Facing the world will's full force strike, Lin Moyu died on the spot. At the same time, in the soul void, Lin Moyu's soul exploded in front of Nguyen. All the undead servants vanished. A Tao Lord had fallen. The world mourned, and rain poured down on the origin continent. Everyone felt a deep sadness.
He's dead. He really died. The world mourns, a Tao Lord has fallen, so he must be dead, but I don't think Lin Moyu would die so easily.
Lin Moyu was indeed dead, body and soul destroyed, yet many felt it wasn't real. In recent years, Tao Lords had died one after another, only to revive again and again. Maybe Lin Moyu would do the same. Many thought it was possible somehow. They believed Lin Moyu would return. After killing Lin Moyu, the world will howl at the sky, venting its deepest rage. The fruit Nguyen planted continued to work, clouding the world will's mind and making it believe Lin Moyu was truly dead. Chapter 4032. Freedom. Lin Moyu suppressed his own rebirth, allowing the immortal jade to take effect. Through his own death, he sought to comprehend the essence of the immortal jade while reflecting on his entire plan. Normally, when a living being dies, their true spirit imprint in a world disappears and everything disperses into the heavens and earth. Under the rules of the universe, the core true spirit then takes effect. According to certain rules, the true spirit will reincarnate in some world, becoming a new being. This is reincarnation, where one reincarnates and what one becomes is unknown to all. However, for some beings who have reached a certain cultivation level and are deeply entangled with their world or due to powerful obsessions, their next life is highly likely to be reborn in the same world. Traces of them remain everywhere, and their soul is not fully dissipated. When the true spirit imprint reappears, it can bring memories of the previous life. That's one possibility. Another is if the world itself hasn't given up the true spirit imprint, then after death, the person either revives directly or is guaranteed to reincarnate in that world. Take Antares, for example. As a dragon, he is part of the first race born from the yin-yang origin of the origin continent in this era. The entire dragon race's true spirit imprints are deeply intertwined with the origin continent. Now that Antares has become the new dragon god and inherited the ancestral dragon's position, his true spirit is deeply branded into the world. That's why just using the heaven-covering stone couldn't make the origin continent let go of Antares, forcing Lin Moyu to use the true spirit life technique to forcibly seize his true spirit. During this process, Lin Moyu realized his own true spirit was much the same. But he couldn't forcibly take his own true spirit imprint. He had to find another way. Ultimately, he decided to make the world will give him up voluntarily. To achieve this, he thought of Nguyen. By having her plant the karmic fruit, the outcome was predetermined, greatly increasing his margin for error. Even if things changed, the result wouldn't. Lin Moyu's goal was for himself to die and his true spirit imprint to dissipate. The whole process went smoothly, with only the God of Light and Lord of Darkness as minor interruptions. Lin Moyu had prepared for this. He had already arranged with the discernment beast and the human sovereign that, if those two appeared, the discernment beast would handle the God of Light and the human sovereign would deal with the Lord of Darkness. The Lord of Darkness was from the outsider race, making the human sovereign the perfect counter. The outcome was excellent. The whole play was a success. The world will wanted nothing more than to grind Lin Moyu's bones to dust, and after killing him, it raged madly. Of course, Lin Moyu wasn't really dead. If he wished, he could revive in a second. But he forcibly suppressed rebirth, letting the immortal jade substitute for it. Even so, his true spirit imprint still existed. Just as he had expected, the heaven-covering stone couldn't let his true spirit leave the origin continent. Now it was up to the world will's choice. Although Lin Moyu had arranged everything, at this step, the initiative was no longer his. The world will howled for a while, asserting its invincibility, then began attacking the origin continent. The continent's formation still held, preventing it from destroying the world. And with Lin Moyu having taken most of the true spirit imprints, it couldn't perform a mass sacrifice to break through to the eternal level. The world will was not stupid, it knew what to do, but under the influence of the Tao of Karma, it acted impulsively. It instinctively believed Lin Moyu must have hidden the true spirit imprints within the formation, so it tried to break the formation to retrieve them. Whether it would destroy the era and start over or try to achieve eternity, it hadn't decided. Attack after attack landed on the origin continent's formation, but it didn't budge. The divine continent cauldron continually released power, making the continent impregnable. Meanwhile, the source spirit veins and the power of the outer great Tao were constantly drawn upon, making everyone on the continent feel heavy. Their powers suppressed no matter how strong. Even Tao lords were reduced to ordinary people. Lin Moyu had thought it all through. This way, nothing could go wrong inside the formation, and he only had to face the world will. The world will, unable to break the formation and increasingly affected by karma, grew ever more furious and irrational. Suddenly, Lin Moyu's phantom appeared atop the divine continent cauldron.
Impossible! You can't still be alive!
The world will roared, growing more frenzied, attacking harder than ever. The aftershocks swept through the outer great Tao, forcing onlookers to retreat even farther. But the formation still didn't budge, and Lin Moyu's phantom seemed to mock the world will's impotence. Unable to break the formation, the world will could do nothing. Then, as if struck by a thought, it reached out and grabbed a true spirit imprint Lin Moyu's. Though Lin Moyu was dead, his true spirit imprint had not vanished.
Die!
The world will roared, crushing the imprint in its fist. The imprint shattered into countless fragments, dissipating into the void. And Yuyen saw this and whispered,
"It's done!"
Lin Moyu's plan had succeeded. Now he just had to wait for the immortal jade to revive him. In the immortal jade, laughter echoed, purple light swirling as Lin Moyu was reborn. With the shackle of the true spirit imprint gone, Lin Moyu felt a wave of relief. He was finally free. And Yuyen smiled.
Congratulations, Lin Taoist, on your freedom.
Lin Moyu chuckled.
Thank you.
With a wave of his hand, his soul world finally left the origin continent. He condensed his soul world into his soul, making it portable. Now he could take it anywhere, and many previous restrictions no longer applied. In the soul void, the world will's avatar watched Lin Moyu's soul world depart, sensing something was wrong. But the influence of the Tao of Karma was too strong, so it didn't care, only roaring at the newly revived Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu smiled.
Now we can have a proper fight.
In the real world, the supposedly dead Lin Moyu, wrapped in purple light, was reborn and appeared once more. He now controlled two bodies in both the real and virtual worlds. When people saw Lin Moyu return from the dead, no one was surprised. They'd felt all along he wouldn't die so easily. After all, recent years had shown that Tao Lords could die and come back, and Lin Moyu's
fake death
tricks were well known, even if few understood the true reason.
You're not dead.
The world will's roar echoed across the origin continent. Lin Moyu laughed.
If you want to kill me, you're not up to the task.
4033. Chapter 4033, Crushing. The true battle began. Now that Lin Moyu's true spirit imprint was gone, the world will had lost the ability to control his life and death. If the imprint had remained, the world will could have killed him through it, forcing him to die over and over as long as it wasn't completely destroyed. Everything done before, including planting the karmic fruit, was to make the world will personally crush that true spirit imprint. Now that it was done, it was time to send the world will on its way. Origin energy surged as Lin Moyu's cultivation rapidly soared. For the world will, this pitiful being whom he had schemed against so deeply, Lin Moyu gave it enough respect. He did not summon his undead servants to gang up, nor did he use the statues left by the celestial civilization. He wanted to use his own full power to give his opponent a worthy end. His realm kept rising in both the real and virtual worlds, and in a blink, Lin Moyu reached the peak of the Tao Lord realm. And Yuyen's beautiful eyes widened at this moment. Lin Moyu was no weaker than herself. She even wondered if he had rejoined the Great Tao and become a Great Tao Lord again. But the next moment, her eyes nearly popped out. Lin Moyu's aura rose again, breaking through the Tao Lord realm. Though he had no Tao at this moment, and Yuyan clearly sensed Lin Moyu's cultivation had surpassed her own. To surpass her realm meant reaching the final step.
He has taken that step?
And Yuyan could hardly believe it, nor dared to think further. In both worlds, Lin Moyu's body and soul broke through simultaneously.
Great Tao world-ending palm.
In both worlds, he struck out with the same palm. The power used differed. In the real world, he used half his strength. In the soul void, only 30%. The world will in the real world was a bit stronger, so he used more force. In the soul void, he was careful not to accidentally destroy the whole world with a single blow. As the great Tao world-ending palm appeared, the power of 10,000 Taoists gathered. On the origin continent and the outer great Tao, every cultivator felt as if their own cultivation and realm were being drawn away, merging into that palm. The world will also punched out, meeting the palm head-on. Its fist shattered like tofu, and amid its unwilling roar, the world-ending palm smashed its body and scattered its will, utterly annihilating it. The palm print then vanished into the world's depths. Only then did everyone feel their power returning.
What a terrifying palm! So this is Lin Moyu's true strength. Even the world couldn't withstand that palm. Has Lin Moyu already become a legendary Great Tao Lord? Maybe, but I think even a Great Tao Lord might not survive that palm.
Their shock turned to fear, then to submission. Even Tao Lords didn't dare oppose Lin Moyu anymore. Someone with endless schemes, overwhelming dominance, and unfathomable strength facing such a being, it was best to behave. In the soul void, the 30% strength world-ending palm also shattered the world will. The palm quickly dissipated, and Lin Moyu sensed the karma he had accidentally killed a few people, but thankfully not too many. He didn't care about a bit of karmic backlash. His body and soul both shattered and were reborn in purple light. The aftereffects of the world-ending palm were unchanged. He still had to die once. After rebirth, Lin Moyu's consciousness fully returned to the soul void. He bowed to An Yuyen.
Senior, my business here is done. Thank you for your help.
An Yuyen smiled.
No need to be so polite, Lin Taoist. I gained a lot myself and saw things I never imagined. Just now, Lin Taoist.
Lin Moyu replied.
You mean my realm just now, right?
An Yuyen nodded.
If I'm not mistaken, you surpassed the Tao Lord realm.
Lin Moyu said.
With the origin technique, I did briefly surpass the Tao Lord realm. As you know, that's the final step. I only barely touched the edge, not even half a step. Strictly speaking, I only brushed against it, and only for a moment.
An Yuyen asked.
Do you know what that realm is?
Lin Moyu shook his head.
I don't. But I once discussed it with the discernment beast, who called it transcendence. Transcendence.
An Yuyen murmured.
Does that mean transcending this world?
Lin Moyu said.
That's one way to put it, but to know for sure, you have to experience it yourself. It's an indescribable realm.
No one could truly describe transcendence. Even the myriad spirits' pavilion's inheritance had no description of the saint spirit realm. To surpass one's own world, you could only do so according to that world's rules. And Yuyen said,
It seems you have hope of breaking through that last step.
Lin Moyu shook his head.
It's difficult. From what I know, that step is extremely hard. I can only keep searching.
And Yuyen knew that step was hard, and didn't dwell on it.
What do you plan to do with this world?
Lin Moyu replied.
This world will become mine. After so much planning, I have to gain something.
She didn't ask for details.
Then I'll take my leave. If you need anything, contact me. Take care, Senior.
As she left, and Yuyen's manner changed. She called herself
Yuyen,
signaling a closer relationship and recognizing Lin Moyu as her peer. After that palm strike, she felt even she would have trouble withstanding it. After An Yuyen left, Lin Moyu turned his attention to the origin continent. The world will there had been destroyed. For a new one to be born would take at least 10 million years. Now, with his true spirit imprint gone, the world considered Lin Moyu an outsider. But since he'd lived there so long, the transition would take a year or 3. After that, the world would treat him as a foreigner, possibly drawing hostility from other beings. Lin Moyu needed to finish his business before then. In the past, this would have been troublesome, only the soul-seizing technique could solve it. But now, with the myriad spirit's secret art, he had a better way. He released the stolen true spirit imprints, letting them return to the world. Then he found the world's origin core, split off a wisp of soul, and used the spirit nurturing technique to nurture a new world spirit. As Nguyen left, her expression was complex. She had truly seen things that opened her eyes, someone breaking through the Tao King realm. After leaving, she stopped and looked into the void.
Human sovereign, please show yourself.
With a soft laugh, the human sovereign appeared.
Greetings, Taoist Yuyan.
She asked.
Why are you here?
He replied.
Don't you know?
Her expression changed.
What are you planning?
Chapter 4034. One of my past lives was also a big shot. It was done. The spirit nurturing technique went smoothly. The wisp of Lin Moyu's soul quickly merged into the world's origin core, fusing with it. His soul became will, using the world as a womb to nurture a new world will. The world will born from the spirit nurturing technique would become Lin Moyu's subordinate, and with the spirit control technique, he could fully control it.
Finally done!
Lin Moyu let out a long breath. Only now did everything feel truly complete. Although the plan had changed several times during execution, the final result remained unchanged. All his arrangements had worked. The world will had been schemed to death and hadn't been able to do anything. With the dust settled, Lin Moyu felt an indescribable clarity, as if a great weight had been lifted and his heart was transparent. Lin Moyu suddenly looked to the sky, his gaze piercing through the outer great Tao to another Tao, the Immortality Tao. The Immortality Tao revealed itself, casting a radiance only Lin Moyu could see, shining down upon him. In this moment, his understanding of the Immortality Tao surged like a tidal wave. He felt his cultivation rising, and vaguely saw his Immortality Tao within the land of return. The once calm Immortality Tao was now surging, the forces of life and death, two extremes clashing and sending up countless waves. The Immortality Tao was so unique that, in this world, only Lin Moyu could comprehend it, making him exceptional. According to the Lord of Curses, the Immortality Tao was not native to this world but descended from above, entering the land of return in a mysterious way and settling there. Some Eternals had tried to explore the Immortality Tao, but none had succeeded. Since Lin Moyu first comprehended the Immortality Tao, he had never fully understood it, even after becoming a Tao Lord. Now, with his heart clear, that gap was rapidly closing. He felt himself moving step by step toward complete mastery of the Immortality Tao. The Immortality Tao loomed larger in his vision, giving him a surreal feeling. He couldn't tell if he was moving toward the Tao or if the Tao was coming to him. The sensation was both real and illusory, and even Lin Moyu couldn't distinguish it. So he simply stopped trying. Following his instincts, there was no danger anyway. If this was an epiphany, let it come as fiercely as possible. He was still on the origin continent, and after the recent great battle, all the strong could see him, but no one dared disturb him. Even if he were just in enlightenment, or even dead and a corpse, under the lingering awe of his power, no one would dare approach. With his heart clear and soul transparent, Lin Moyu saw all causes and effects with perfect clarity. Unconsciously, he found himself standing atop the Immortality Tao, feeling as if he completely controlled it. Power surged, his realm rose, and the connection between himself and the Immortality Tao grew ever tighter. For some reason, Lin Moyu felt this power was always meant to be his. It was as if his power wasn't rising, but returning. The Immortality Tao radiated a sense of familiarity, as if saying,
You're finally back. Looks like one of my past lives was also extraordinary.
Lin Moyu realized that this feeling, the reason only he could comprehend the Immortality Tao, the reason he crossed over from his previous world without a system, all stemmed from the fact that one of his past lives was truly remarkable. Some events in this life, like his system, might have been arranged by a past self. While this might seem strange, it wasn't impossible. Those who transcended the world, regardless of power, could do things ordinary people couldn't imagine. Perhaps one of his past lives was a transcendent. If so, this feeling made sense. Lin Moyu's aura shook the origin continent. From the earth to the outer great Tao, every inch of space, every corner, every projected Tao, even the world's core, trembled. The shockwaves spread, not just through the world but to every living being within it. At first, their bodies shook, then their souls.
What's happening? Why am I shaking uncontrollably? What's going on? Even my power is shaking.
Even their voices trembled as the world roared. Only Lin Moyu knew the cause. The immortality Tao was merging with him, and he was advancing toward becoming a Tao Lord. The clash of life and death within the immortality Tao triggered tiny tremors, which, when transmitted outward, were infinitely amplified, causing the entire world to shake. The effect spread from the real world to the soul void, and even further, and Yuyan, in conversation with the human sovereign, turned to look toward the origin continent and softly said,
Lin Taoist is about to become a Tao Lord.
The human sovereign was astonished, full of disbelief.
So fast.
He couldn't help but note that Lin Moyu was so young, not even a fraction of his own age, yet was about to become a Tao Lord. When he was Lin Moyu's age, he had only just reached the great Tao realm and knew nothing of being a Tao Lord. He achieved Tao Lord status at nearly 100,000 years old. Compared to Lin Moyu, what was he? Even if Lin Moyu was originally an eternal Tao Lord, just reincarnated, this speed was incredible. The human sovereign looked back at An Yuyan.
He's about to become a Tao Lord, and probably not far from eternity. Taoist Yuyan, have you thought carefully about what I said? If you wait any longer, you might not get another chance.
And Yuyan frowned, considering his words. The human sovereign didn't press some things had to be decided by An Yuyan herself. After a moment, An Yuyan suddenly raised her hand, her 10 fingers weaving a lotus flower.
Plant the fruit.
The lotus flew into her brow, and she shuddered, a trace of pain on her face, but then she smiled brilliantly. After planting the fruit, An Yuyan had made her decision.
Human sovereign, after much thought, I've decided not to get involved. But I won't reveal what you told me. Still, let me advise you don't do it. It will only lead to death.
Chapter 4035. Heaven and Earth celebrate. All Taoists pay homage. Hearing An Yuyan's words, the human sovereign was momentarily stunned.
To die.
For an eternal being like him, this word was so unfamiliar. He was eternal, how could he die? At most, he could fall silent for a time, but would always return. Yet An Yuyan was also an eternal. She would not speak idly. The human sovereign asked,
Can you be more specific?
An Yuyan shook her head slightly.
I have glimpsed the fruit. If you persist, you truly will die. Don't doubt it, eternals can be killed. You saw Lin Taoist's palm, didn't you? He held back most of his strength. If he went all out, do you think you could withstand it? In the future, when Lin Taoist enters the land of return, if he targets your Tao, will your heavenly Tao be able to resist?
The human sovereign frowned deeply.
To make a move in the land of return unless he's gone mad, that one wouldn't allow it.
And Yuyan replied,
That one won't interfere.
The human sovereign's expression changed.
Is this only what you saw?
And Yuyan nodded.
Lin Taoist's return is the trend of destiny, unstoppable by human effort. Anyone who stands in his way will be crushed to powder. That's all I'll say. If you still want to act, I won't stop you, but don't expect to drag me into it.
With that, An Yuyan left, and the human sovereign did not stop her. Clearly, the human sovereign was considering her words. After all, they were both at the same level, and he could not ignore her warning. In the end, he looked toward the origin continent, sighed, and slowly shook his head.
It seems this path is closed.
Lin Moyu felt himself merging with the immortality Tao. able to use 80% of its power, many times stronger than before. But he was still half a step from truly stepping into the Tao's essence. Now he fully understood the difference between a Tao Lord and a Tao Lord.
A Tao Lord is indeed much stronger than a Tao Lord, mainly due to a change in status. From a user and manipulator of the Tao, one becomes its owner.
A Tao Lord manipulates the Tao. A Tao Lord owns it, able to strip any Tao Lord of access to that Tao. Once a Tao has a Tao Lord, no Tao Lord can compete. At a Tao Lord's whim, Tao Lords cannot use the Tao's power at all. Without the Tao's power, what are they? Thus, even among Tao Lords, the gap between a Tao Lord and an ordinary Tao Lord is vast like heaven and earth. But the gap between a Tao Lord and an Eternal is not as great. The Eternal's advantage is entering the land of return and gaining the world's recognition. As long as their Tao remains in the land of return, they cannot die. That's the Eternal's advantage. In terms of power, they are somewhat stronger, but the gap is not as large as between Tao Lord and Tao Lord. The immortality Tao was special. Lin Moyu had not yet entered the land of return, so he could control about 80% of the Tao's power. The remaining 20% was the difference between an Eternal and a Tao Lord. Having achieved Tao Lord, Lin Moyu understood many truths and the distinctions between levels. Vaguely, he saw the limit of the world. He knew that beyond was the world's ultimate limit. The world finally calmed, no longer trembling, but the rumbling grew even louder. Infinite rays of light shone from heaven and earth, enveloping the origin continent. Daos appeared in the sky, some not even present on the origin continent. All the Daos shone and resonated, as if celebrating Lin Moyu. A new Tao Lord had appeared in the world. All Daos paid homage. All cultivators above the great Tao realm simultaneously received a message from heaven and earth. Lin Moyu had become a Tao Lord. Whoosh! All at the great Tao realm, willing or not, simultaneously knelt. The might of heaven and earth forced them to bow to the Tao Lord and offer their blessings. Whether they wanted to or not, they had no choice. Heaven and earth are infinite, cultivators are infinite, the great Tao realm is infinite, Tao Lords are infinite, but there can only be one Tao Lord per Tao. Thus, a Tao Lord status is fundamentally different from all other cultivators in the eyes of heaven and earth. Lin Moyu chuckled.
What a commotion!
He hadn't expected becoming a Tao Lord would cause such a stir, heaven and earth celebrating. All Taos paying homage. As for what to do inside, he would only find out after entering. The world granted Lin Moyu the authority to open the passage at will. Among the myriad Taos, Lin Moyu vaguely saw a pair of eyes, those of the Candle Dragon, who had also come to celebrate.
Didn't expect him to come congratulate me, how rare.
The Candle Dragon's eyes sent two beams of light as a congratulatory gift. Lin Moyu closed his eyes, enjoying the world's celebration, feeling his physical body strengthen further. His body had always been among the strongest at his level, rivaled only by those who specialized in body cultivation. After all, he had tempered his body with the power Tao countless times. Now, under the tempering of heaven and earth, his body grew even stronger. His soul, however, remained unchanged, already at the world's limit any further, and he would transcend the world and be rejected by it. After a long while, the Taos faded and the world returned to peace. Lin Moyu stood in the void, as if he were the world's center, with everything revolving around him. It felt strange, but when everyone felt it, it became fact. The origin continent truly was Lin Moyu's world now. He was already nurturing a new world which would become his subordinate. More precisely, this world belonged to Lin Moyu. Any future world would merely be his tool for managing it. With a wave, Lin Moyu released Antares' true spirit imprint, returning it to the origin continent. The matter was resolved. Antares no longer needed to seek a new world or enter Lin Moyu's great thousand world. He could remain peacefully as the dragon god of the origin continent. As for his recent death, just count it as a wasted effort and take a few tens of thousands of years to recover. One could imagine how frustrated Antares would be when he learned all this. He'd just been a bit player, got hurt, and it was all for nothing.
There are gains and losses.
But thinking of how Antares was fancied by Long Yi, maybe it wasn't such a loss. Suddenly, countless voices came from all directions.
Greetings, Tao Lord.
All cultivators above the great Tao realm bowed to Lin Moyu. Chapter 4036. Don't worry, I won't force anything. Lin Moyu calmly accepted the worship of countless cultivators on the Origin continent. As a Tao Lord, he was fully deserving of this. With a sweep of his gaze, everything on the Origin continent was laid bare before him. There were no secrets left. A hint of surprise flashed in his eyes.
I forgot about them.
In a corner, there were still 7 Tao Lords lying unconscious remnants from the previous 2 eras, whom he had knocked out and left unattended.
You don't belong to this era anymore. Dust to dust, disperse.
The immortality Tao surged down, unleashing the power of death. The 7, still unconscious, had their bodies corroded and perished in an instant, body and Tao both erased. Now that Lin Moyu had become a Tao Lord, his power had increased so much that dealing with these Tao Lords was effortless. Lin Moyu looked toward the heavens and spoke, his voice echoing across the world.
Rise, all of you. The world will be as usual. There will be no more world burial events. You can cultivate in peace. If you have the chance, perhaps you too can achieve the Tao Lord's path. Thank you, Tao Lord.
Everyone replied in unison. Lin Moyu nodded and vanished in a single step. Back at his courtyard in Yuedao City, little Yuan and the others excitedly gathered around. Everything had gone smoothly with no casualties. Lin Moyu had prepared for the worst if his arrangements failed. The world might have dragged many down with it, and even little Wu, little Mei, and the others might not have survived. But now this was the best possible outcome. After chatting for a while, he shifted his consciousness and entered the soul void, heading toward where Antares was. Now that he was a Tao Lord, he moved even faster. Along the way, he sensed many changes. The undead servants had grown stronger, none were weaker than himself. However, the Taos they wielded came from the Great Thousand World, and only through chaotic energy could they exert such power in this world. Lin Moyu's attention turned to the Great Thousand World. His successful advancement to Tao Lord was due not only to his clear Tao heart but, most importantly, to the Great Thousand World's rapid strengthening. With the nourishment of wild beast essence, world crystals, and other resources, the Great Thousand World had evolved in a short time, completing a journey that would take other worlds hundreds of millions of years. The strength of the Great Thousand World determined Lin Moyu's cultivation ceiling. Its growth was key to his breakthrough. Now, with the world stronger, the region of chaotic energy had expanded, allowing more undead servants. Their number increased from 1.1 trillion to 1.3 trillion. Though the increase wasn't huge, each undead servant was now almost as strong as a Tao Lord, an utterly terrifying prospect. No one could imagine what it would be like if over 1 trillion Tao Lords charged out at once. He checked his other techniques.
Each spell has grown a bit stronger, but overall, the changes aren't huge.
After all, a Tao Lord is still at the Tao Lord level. Unless you change realms, the difference between techniques isn't that great. The world tree had also grown, now even larger and still enveloping his expanded soul world. Now that his soul world was free to move with him, everything was much more convenient. At least in the soul void, he no longer needed to store undead servants in his spatial ring. They could be replenished at any time if destroyed. Still, Lin Moyu was puzzled. Where did all these undead servants come from? Why were there so many, seemingly endless? Even as a Tao Lord, he hadn't figured it out. He had a sense that the secrets about himself might already surpass this world. The more he understood about the world, the clearer it became. The chaos seed still clung to the roots of the world tree in the chaos world, absorbing chaotic energy. Its recovery would take a long time, but for now, it didn't matter. He let it be. A day later, Lin Moyu rushed to the world where Antares was. Both Antares and the world-sealing Tao Lord were safe. Long Yi was guarding them, and when she saw Lin Moyu, surprise flashed in her eyes.
You became a Tao Lord?
That Lin Moyu had become a Tao Lord so quickly was beyond Long Yi's understanding. Becoming a Tao Lord was never easy. Even the breakthrough process could take thousands or at least hundreds of years. But for Lin Moyu, it had only been a matter of days. Lin Moyu said,
Thank you, Dragon Taoist, for guarding them.
Long Yi replied.
No need to thank me. I didn't expect you to become a Tao Lord so quickly. Your foundation is truly astonishing.
Lin Moyu smiled.
You flatter me, Dragon Taoist. I was just lucky.
Long Yi asked.
Did you take care of everything over there?
Lin Moyu nodded.
The world will is gone.
Long Yi asked.
And him? What do you plan to do?
She was referring to Antares. Lin Moyu said.
He probably doesn't want to leave after all. This is his home. I've already returned his true spirit imprint to the world. If he wants to go elsewhere in the future, I won't stop him. As for you, Dragon Taoist, if you want to do anything, as long as it's consensual, I won't interfere.
Long Yi smiled.
Don't worry, I won't force anything.
She then asked.
When do you plan to enter the Origin Ancestral Land?
Lin Moyu replied.
I haven't decided yet. As long as I go within 1,000 years, there's no rush.
Once he entered the Origin Ancestral Land, he truly wouldn't be able to interfere with Antares' fate. Long Yi said.
Here's a suggestion. You can leave a clone here. That way, if anything happens, you can still handle it.
Lin Moyu was puzzled.
The Origin Ancestral Land is so far away, would a clone be useful?
Long Yi shook her head.
Not for others, but for Tao Lords, yes. Heaven and earth give us special privileges. Even if we're in the Origin Ancestral Land, we can still communicate with and control our clones. Otherwise, since we spend half of every 10,000 years in the Ancestral Land, who would handle things here? People like us, after cultivating so far, always have some enemies. They often take advantage of our absence to cause trouble. So don't tell anyone when you plan to enter the Origin Ancestral Land. Go secretly.
Long Yi spoke with the wisdom of experience, sharing some common sense. Lin Moyu asked.
What exactly do we do in the Origin Ancestral Land?
Long Yi replied.
What else? We fight. You'll know the details when you get there. The rules of heaven and earth don't allow us to reveal it here.
She glanced at the void and winked, signaling she couldn't say more. Her expression was vivid, though a Tao Lord. She wasn't as reserved as those from the human race. Thinking of Antares, he seemed similar. The two were quite a match. A year later, the world-sealing Tao Lord was the first to revive from the immortal jade. Lin Moyu explained what had happened and helped him nurture a new world spirit in this world. Since the world-sealing Tao Lord's true spirit imprint was gone, returning would be difficult. Better to stay in a new world, which, with its superior formation and Tao projections, suited him better. About half a year later, Antares also recovered. Chapter 4037. Target, Origin Ancestral Land. Antares woke up. After Lin Moyu told him what had happened, Antares was so frustrated he could die, letting out one dragon roar after another. It wasn't until Long Yi gave him a slap that he finally quieted down. Long Yi gave him a look.
You're a great Tao Lord, aren't you? It's just a little thing. What are you yelling for?
Antares snorted.
What do you know?
Lin Moyu laughed.
He's just yelling for my benefit. Don't mind him. That's just how he is.
Antares replied, feeling a bit wronged.
Wasn't this all your fault? I'm so badly injured, it'll probably take tens of thousands of years to recover.
Lin Moyu said.
Plans can't keep up with changes. I didn't expect things to turn out this way, but at least it's all resolved now. Just rest and recover. 40,000 years will go by fast.
Long Yi said.
If you want to recover faster, I can help you.
Her gaze was intense, and Antares immediately understood what she meant. He replied, a little embarrassed.
Tens of thousands of years is fine. I can't just sell myself over this.
Long Yi snorted and ignored him. Lin Moyu could see that although Long Yi looked a bit displeased, her gaze toward Antares was only getting more heated. After all, a dragon like him was a rare treasure among the dragon race. After chatting for a while, Lin Moyu took Antares back, and Long Yi also said her goodbyes, but before leaving, she said she'd be coming to find Antares soon. Of course, she meant in the real world, not the soul void. With the mark she'd left in Antares' true spirit, it wouldn't be hard for her to find him. Lin Moyu gave Long Yi a divine rune. With it, she could enter the origin continent, and as long as she didn't do anything to harm it, the origin continent wouldn't attack her. Antares had no objections. In fact, Lin Moyu knew he was quite happy about it. Antares definitely wanted to cling to Long Yi's.
Thigh.
So he'd played hard to get. He knew that being with Long Yi would bring him great benefits, and maybe he could even become a great Tao Lord himself, but only if Long Yi truly cooperated with him, not just took him as breeding stock. After returning to the origin continent, Lin Moyu left the soul void and instantly appeared before Antares, giving him another careful check.
You're in better shape than I thought. At most, you'll need 20,000 years to recover, and with Long Yi's help, it'll be even faster.
Antares said,
You're heading to the origin ancestral land next, right?
Lin Moyu nodded.
I'll prepare. Leave a clone here to watch over things, then I'll go.
Antares said,
Be careful in the origin ancestral land.
Lin Moyu had told him before that going there meant fighting, not sightseeing. Even if Antares didn't fully understand, he knew that if great Tao Lords were being summoned there to fight, the enemies must be dangerous. Lin Moyu had some guesses and smiled.
Don't worry, I have a pretty good idea who the enemies are. With my strength, you don't need to worry about me.
Antares thought of Lin Moyu's methods and nodded.
Yeah, it's those guys who should be worried, not you.
Lin Moyu laughed.
Hopefully when I get back, you'll already be a father.
Antares grinned.
You never know.
With his
playing hard to get
strategy, Long Yi was already hooked, and Antares clearly had his own plans. Lin Moyu began preparing his clone. According to Long Yi, the clone needed to be strong enough at least 30% of his main body's power, or it wouldn't be able to hold off enemies. That wasn't a problem. As long as he left some undead servants, it would be enough. With undead servants around, the clone's strength was secondary. As Lin Moyu saw it, his only truly dangerous enemies were the God of Light and the Lord of Darkness. They might try to cause trouble while he was away in the origin ancestral land. The Lord of Curses probably wouldn't target the ancestral land. His goal was Lin Moyu's physical body. Now that Lin Moyu was a great Tao Lord, his next step was to become an eternal being like the Lord of Curses. The Lord of Curses would definitely act before that happened, and it wouldn't be long. Lin Moyu had asked the discernment beast about the Lord of Curses, but even it didn't know where he'd gone. After all, if the Lord of Curses didn't make a move, no one would know. Enemies lurking in the shadows were the most troublesome. All Lin Moyu could do was prepare for whatever came. He began setting up formations again, standing between the origin continent and the outer Great Tao, sending out countless divine runes. This formation wrapped around the entire world, linking with the previous formation and extending into both the real and soul void worlds, turning the world into a fortress. With his current strength, the formation could block even great Tao Lords, so even if the God of Light and Lord of Darkness showed up, they couldn't do anything to the origin continent. It took Lin Moyu a full 100 years to complete the formation. About 70 years ago, Long Yi arrived at the origin continent. Seeing Lin Moyu busy with the formation, she didn't disturb him and went straight to find Antares. Lin Moyu focused on his work and ignored them. After 100 years, the formation was finished. Lin Moyu tested and confirmed it was flawless, then handed control to Dao Venerable Hao and the others, just like before, to be operated together with Little Mei and the rest. With a wave, he retrieved the divine continent cauldron. During the formation process, he had already used the formation to suppress all the spirit veins, so even without the cauldron, the origin spirit veins would remain stable and not affect the beings of the world. The old sword Tao Lord could do it back then, so for Lin Moyu it was even easier. The divine continent cauldron was a treasure from the birth of the world, even older than the world itself. Using it just to suppress spirit veins was a waste. Besides, the cauldron seemed eager to return to the world tree. As soon as it was back, it flew to the tree's branches, as if it belonged there. Lin Moyu had a feeling that the world tree and the divine continent cauldron were always meant to be together. Once everything was ready, Lin Moyu went to the Soul Void to find the Discernment Beast and asked it to help watch over the Origin continent. After paying a certain price, the Discernment Beast agreed. If real danger came to the Origin continent, it would act. Lin Moyu knew the Discernment Beast's strength on the surface. It seemed similar to an emperor, but it was probably stronger. After all, it had survived from another domain to this one, and no one knew its true power. With the Discernment Beast and his own preparations, Lin Moyu could finally rest easy. A few years later, far from the Origin continent, a passage to the Origin ancestral land opened with a thunderous roar. Chapter 4038. Lin Moyu's story. In the blink of an eye, 100 years had passed since Lin Moyu left the Origin continent. During that century, legends about Lin Moyu never ceased. Some news spread from Yuedao City, explaining what had happened back then. Cultivators from Yuedao City who traveled abroad brought stories with them. According to the stories, the Origin continent had gone through two eras, the insect race era and the Buddhist race era. Both eras were ultimately buried and destroyed. The one behind these buried eras was the world will. In the stories, the world will try to sacrifice all living beings in the world in order to break through to a higher realm. But in the end, this sacrifice was stopped by Lin Moyu, who became the hero who saved the entire world. These stories spread widely across the Origin continent, spawning many versions, but the content was mostly the same. The evil of the world will, and the righteousness of Lin Moyu never changed. In the stories, Lin Moyu's genius was beyond belief. He surpassed all the geniuses of three eras, standing alone at the top, unmatched by anyone. The stories eventually reached the outer Great Tao. Some people scoffed, admitting Lin Moyu was strong, but doubting the so-called
3 eras.
But others believed there must be some truth to the rumors. Even if the stories were exaggerated, the gist was correct. After all, many had witnessed the madness of the world will. The world will really did have the power to destroy an era, and the whole process, combined with Lin Moyu's arrangements, matched the stories. In the end, whether true or false was no longer important. The most important thing was that this world now truly belonged to Lin Moyu. Even though Lin Moyu never declared himself the master of the world, everyone knew in their hearts that this world was under his control. Yuedao City had become the core holy land of the world, with countless visitors every day. In Yuedao City, there stood a 10,000-meter tall statue modeled after Lin Moyu. Over the past century, many places on the Origin continent had erected statues of Lin Moyu, but the largest was in Yuedao City. Perhaps out of awe for Lin Moyu's power, no one dared disrespect the statues. Instead, many came daily to pray before them. Lin Moyu's image, battling heaven and earth, had become the idol of countless cultivators. Everyone wanted to become the next Lin Moyu. For 100 years, the Origin continent had enjoyed peace and stability, with no major conflicts, and it seemed the future would be the same. Lin Moyu's prestige had not diminished at all. In fact, as the stories spread, his worshippers only grew in number. Although new geniuses kept emerging, people always compared them to Lin Moyu, only to realize just how monstrous Lin Moyu truly was. Outside the Origin continent, in the world's mist, two figures appeared. Separated by billions of miles, they watched the Origin continent, seeing everything that happened there. Space was no barrier to their eyes.
Heh!
Cold laugh sounded.
Who would have thought one of us is darkness, the other light, and we'd end up joining forces against a single enemy?
With that laugh, the Lord of Darkness revealed himself. In front of him, the God of Light also gazed at the Origin continent. He folded his wings and murmured,
"There's no need to say such things. There are no eternal enemies in this world. We just walk different paths. No matter what our paths are, even if we were enemies before, it doesn't matter. What matters now is dealing with Lin Moyu. He's already become a great Tao Lord. We can't kill him."
Both the Lord of Darkness and the God of Light knew how formidable Lin Moyu was. Both had suffered at his hands and only survived by fleeing to the Origin ancestral land. The Lord of Darkness chuckled.
"Even if we can't kill him, we can destroy his world and kill all his friends and family. When he returns from the Origin ancestral land and finds everything gone, I wonder what his expression will be."
His laugh was chilling, full of murderous intent, like a beast lurking in the dark. The god of light said,
"But how can you be sure he really went to the origin ancestral land?"
The Lord of Darkness replied,
"I snuck into his world for more than 10 years and found he wasn't there. Besides, 100 years ago, both of us saw the passage to the origin ancestral land open, and someone entered. It wasn't far from here. Besides, if this were a trap, I would have been discovered when I snuck in. With his strength, I doubt I could have hidden from him."
The god of light was still pondering, not making a decision right away. The Lord of Darkness continued,
"You found this place based on your old memories, but you're still afraid to make a move. So what's the point of coming here? Don't forget how embarrassing it was last time. Now we're probably the laughingstock of those guys."
The god of light's face darkened. When he fought Lin Moyu before, he was forced to flee to the origin ancestral land, a shameful thing. Later, in the ancestral land, he ran into the Lord of Darkness and realized they'd both escaped from Lin Moyu. So they joined forces to deal with Lin Moyu. Using information left by the celestial race, the god of light found the origin continent's location. He knew the origin continent had a world will, and, using a treasure, deduced that Lin Moyu would have to deal with the world will, leading to a great battle. They planned to take advantage of the chaos and have the world will kill Lin Moyu for them. They knew that even together, they'd struggle to kill Lin Moyu head-on. But with the world will's help, it would be easier. But they miscalculated. Lin Moyu had anticipated them, arranging for the discernment beast and the human sovereign to handle them. They were forced to flee in disgrace. The god of light said,
"You're right. If we found this place but don't act, there's no point. But Lin Moyu is cunning, we can't be careless. Let's wait a bit longer. After becoming a great Tao Lord, he must enter the origin ancestral land within 1,000 years, and once inside, he must stay for at least 1,000 years before returning. Destroying his world won't take that long. We can wait a few more centuries."
The Lord of Darkness wasn't in a hurry. He just wanted an answer.
"Fine, let's wait."
In a flash, another 500 years passed. During those 5 centuries, Lin Moyu never reappeared, only his legend continued to spread. The number of people who worshipped him only grew. Finally, in the 600th year after Lin Moyu became a great Tao Lord, the sky over the origin continent suddenly darkened. Not just the origin continent, the entire outer heaven Tao darkened as well. Endless darkness surged from the mists outside the world, beginning to envelop everything. Above the world, a formation blazed to life, and a giant appeared. This was not the world will, but something even greater, manifesting as the world's guardian. Fists rained down, scattering the darkness. From within the darkness, countless phantoms charged out, attacking the formation from all sides. The giant and the darkness clashed, evenly matched. Countless great Tao realm cultivators and several great Tao lords appeared on the outer great Tao, watching this sudden, epic battle. Some Tao lords looked grim.
"A great Tao Lord is invading."
Chapter 4039. Finally waiting for you too. The invasion of a great Tao Lord made the faces of many Tao Lords and great Tao realm cultivators turn extremely grim. Fortunately, the formation Lin Moyu had set up was holding, so the world was not in immediate danger. The giant fought fiercely against the darkness. The Lord of Darkness manifested endless phantoms not strong individually, but attacking the formation from countless angles. The dark great Tao was corrosive, and under its erosion, the formation was gradually weakening. Within the world, several Tao lords whispered,
"If the formation breaks, we're all dead. Even if our strength is meager, we can't just stand by and watch. Let's fight, just like when we faced the outer heaven celestials and the black blood realm. Even if we die, at least we'll relieve some pressure on the formation. Then let's fight."
Everyone roared in unison, ready to charge into battle. The cultivators of the origin continent were courageous, especially those who had survived the great catastrophe. They were brimming with fighting spirit. They rushed toward the outer formation, prepared to fight with all their might. Suddenly, a light pierced the darkness, dazzling the eyes. But this light did not bring hope, it brought destruction. The intense light turned into a giant sword, slashing down on the formation like the will of the heavens. The formation rumbled and shook, cracks appearing. The immense power poured through the cracks into the world. The Tao Lords and Great Tao Realm cultivators who had just charged forward were knocked down like raindrops by the force. The Tao Lords looked grim, and many Great Tao Realm cultivators were injured. The power gap between a Great Tao Lord and them was too great, even the aftershocks were unbearable. At that moment, another formation appeared within the origin continent. This formation merged with the world's main formation, and the cracks quickly healed. Everyone was overjoyed. Lin Moyu had actually set up more than one layer of formation. The origin spirit veins and countless great Taos poured their power into the formation. The once precarious formation was instantly stabilized. The intense light appeared again, breaking through the darkness and turning into countless blades that struck the formation. The giant formed by the formation now wielded a massive sword, blocking most of the attacks. Still, many attacks landed on the formation, causing dazzling flashes and making the world shine brilliantly. At this moment, Hao Dao Venerable and Little Mei, among others, flew out of Yuedao City. Another formation appeared in the city, and they entered it to control the Grand Formation. With someone operating it, the formation's power increased. The giant roared, and countless sword lights scattered the world's mist. The God of Light and the Lord of Darkness, who had been hiding in the world's mist, finally revealed themselves. The God of Light pointed a finger, his wings behind him bursting with radiance, transforming into countless blades that swept down like a storm upon the formation. The Lord of Darkness spewed black energy, which turned into dark evil spirits that gnawed madly at the formation. Lin Moyu's formation was strong, but under their combined assault, it was still weakening. Anyone could see that just relying on the formation, two great Tao Lords working together would eventually break it. Some people showed looks of despair.
Where is Lin Moyu? Where did he go? The formation alone can't hold for long. Only Lin Moyu can save us. I don't know, he hasn't appeared for hundreds of years. Maybe he's already left.
Some wailed in despair, some remained silent, and others were filled with fighting spirit even knowing they would die. They were still willing to fight 10 times over. Everyone reacted differently, reflecting their unique Tao hearts and the choices they made in crisis. Darkness enveloped the world, and the last traces of light were stripped away. The world was sinking into despair. Great Tao realm cultivators summoned their Taos, trying to brighten the world again. The Yin-Yang origin shone brilliantly, but under the shroud of darkness, even its light was weaker than before. A Tao Lord noticed something was wrong and shouted,
"They're cutting off the Taos."
All Taos originate from the origin ancestral land, even the Yin-Yang origin. The Lord of Darkness used his great Tao power to shroud the world, severing the Taos and cutting off the origin continent from their influence. When that happened, the formation would fail and cultivators would be powerless. The process wasn't fast, but it brought utter despair. Watching their power slowly fade and be stripped away was enough to break many people. The God of Light's attacks were relentless, constantly draining the formation's strength. With the Lord of Darkness's help, the origin continent was plunged into hopelessness. But Lin Moyu still hadn't appeared, making the two great Tao Lords certain he had gone to the origin ancestral land, so they acted even more recklessly. The Lord of Darkness said,
"That guy didn't even leave a clone behind."
The God of Light replied coldly,
"Maybe he just didn't know after all. He only just became a great Tao Lord."
The Lord of Darkness laughed.
"All the better. I want to see his face when he comes back from the origin ancestral land to find his world gone and all his friends and family dead."
Within the dragon race of the origin continent, Long Yi looked at the void.
"You really don't want me to act?"
Antares showed no worry at all and said calmly,
"No need. That brat has a plan. Those two are dead for sure."
Long Yi asked,
"He's going to kill great Tao Lords?"
Great Tao Lords aren't easy to kill. Even Long Yi could only drive them off, never actually kill them. Antares replied,
"They're just great Tao Lords. For that brat, It's just a matter of whether he wants to kill them or not.
Long Yi wondered.
Then why hasn't he acted yet?
Antares shook his head.
Who knows? That brat never miscalculates. Just wait.
Over the centuries, Antares and Long Yi's relationship had changed. Long Yi now spent most of her time on the Origin continent, and Antares would sometimes visit her world. Long Yi had developed real feelings and no longer saw Antares just as breeding stock. The two dragons cultivated together, and Antares had recovered well over the centuries at this rate. He'd be fully healed in a few thousand years, saving tens of thousands of years of recovery time. The formation grew weaker and weaker. Some people's Tao hearts collapsed from fear. Others clenched their fists, determined to fight even knowing they would die. The Lord of Darkness grinned savagely.
The formation's about to break.
The God of Light said nothing, but his attacks became even more ferocious. Suddenly, the world's mist was blasted apart, and countless golden swords swept through, piercing the mist. The two's faces changed dramatically. The Lord of Darkness hid in the shadows to dodge, while the God of Light folded his wings into a shield to block. The golden swords struck the God of Light, making a thunderous sound and forcing him back.
Lin Moyu.
The God of Light shouted through gritted teeth from behind his wings. His voice was full of hatred and also a trace of fear. From the distant mist, endless brilliant light shot forth, dispersing the darkness and illuminating the universe. The Lord of Darkness was forced into the open, unable to hide in the darkness any longer. A larger formation appeared, like a giant eggshell, enveloping the entire Origin continent, including the God of Light and Lord of Darkness. Lin Moyu's voice slowly rang out.
Finally, I've waited for you too. That wasn't easy.
Chapter 4040. The Heaven and Earth Battlefield. When the Lord of Darkness heard Lin Moyu's voice, he immediately bristled.
You didn't go to the Origin ancestral land?
Lin Moyu's projection appeared within the formation, overlooking everyone like a god, gazing into the darkness.
What do you think?
The Lord of Darkness replied coldly.
I think you did go to the Origin ancestral land, and what's left here is just a clone.
He had personally seen the passage to the Origin ancestral land open and someone enter. Based on his countless experiences entering and exiting the Origin ancestral land, once you entered the passage, you had to go in. There was no turning back. So Lin Moyu must have gone, and what was left was only a clone. If it was just a clone, there was nothing to fear. Even if Lin Moyu had left a formation, there was no way he could trap and kill the two of them with it. Eventually, the formation would be broken, and Lin Moyu still wouldn't be able to protect this world. The God of Light blocked another wave of attacks, spreading his wings and staring at Lin Moyu's projection, eyes full of murderous intent. He said in a low voice,
Enough talk. Attack the world, I'll handle the formation. Darkness devours heaven.
The Lord of Darkness shouted. Black energy erupted from him, forming a giant mouth in the darkness that bit toward the Origin continent. The God of Light hovered above him, wings spread wide, transforming into an endless shield that protected them both. With the God of Light's protection, the Lord of Darkness attacked with all his might, trying to break the formation as quickly as possible. He knew the God of Light's defense was formidable no matter how strong Lin Moyu's formation was. It couldn't break through the God of Light's defense in a short time. As long as he was fast enough, Lin Moyu's world would still be finished. Light and darkness working together, such a thing was almost unheard of, but now it was happening just to deal with Lin Moyu. A cold laugh echoed from the void.
Heh.
Countless undead servants surged from all directions, instantly reaching the battlefield. The appearance of the undead servants completely shattered the two's hopes. Each undead servant's aura was no weaker than a heaven Tao being. Maybe one-on-one they weren't a match, but with such numbers, the two great Tao lords were doomed. Now, there were not just millions but tens of millions of undead servants, densely packed and overwhelming. The God of Light couldn't believe it.
How can his puppets be this strong?
He had fought undead servants before they had great Tao Lord level combat power, which was already shocking. He thought that was their limit, but now their power had soared again, nearly matching a great Tao Lord. If there were only 100 or two, he could handle it. But now, with tens of millions, how could they possibly win? The undead servants wielded countless great Taos, unleashing all sorts of attacks in a dense barrage. In the void, endless great Taos appeared, and behind the heaven Tao was a powerful world. The Great Thousand World projected itself, enveloping the area. Inside the formation, Lin Moyu's voice echoed.
Tao's severance.
The Great Thousand World resonated with the origin continent. The triple formation roared to life, and under this immense power, darkness receded and light scattered. The God of Light and the Lord of Darkness's faces changed drastically, filled with terror. Just before, they had been cutting off the origin continent's Taos, now Lin Moyu was cutting off theirs. They didn't understand how Lin Moyu had done it, but the fact was, he had. Both could clearly feel their own great Tao powers fading, growing weaker and weaker.
Go!
The God of Light decided instantly. They knew if they didn't leave now, they'd never get the chance. Fighting their way out was impossible against tens of millions of undead servants. Not to mention, there was still a terrifying formation outside. Their only escape was to flee to the origin ancestral land. Fleeing there a second time was humiliating, but they had no choice. If they didn't, they would die after all. They weren't eternal yet. They could really be killed.
Go!
The Lord of Darkness echoed. The two simultaneously opened a passage to the origin ancestral land. The ancestral land's projection descended. The passage opened, and two rays of light enveloped them. Suddenly, they both felt a surge of origin energy, as if a terrifying being had descended, its pressure making them tremble in fear.
Great Tao world-ending palm.
With a soft shout, a terrifying palm print appeared in the heavens, striking the projection of the origin ancestral land. With a roar, cracks spread across the projection and the passage, as if they might shatter at any moment.
How is this possible? No way, absolutely impossible.
They cried out in shock. The origin ancestral land was the place where all Taos originated, the most noble and mysterious place in existence. Even as a projection, it possessed the essence of the ancestral land. They had entered and exited it countless times and knew this well. Yet now, the projection was cracked by a single palm. If it happened a few more times, wouldn't it be destroyed outright? What kind of power was this? Was it even possible for a living being? Terrified, they rushed into the passage at top speed, fleeing into the origin ancestral land. If the projection really shattered, they'd be finished. Lin Moyu revealed himself in the void, watching them escape.
As expected of the origin ancestral land, it didn't break.
That palm hadn't been full power, but it was about 80%. He hadn't expected the projection to withstand it. He didn't strike again, instead looking into the void, where a pair of eyes watched him. That was the candle dragon, warning Lin Moyu not to go too far. Lin Moyu laughed.
Got it, that was an accident.
The candle dragon clearly didn't believe him, but said nothing more. The candle dragon's presence was the real reason Lin Moyu didn't strike again. Otherwise, the two would never have escaped to the origin ancestral land. Lin Moyu asked,
If I go to the origin ancestral land to chase them, can I fight inside?
The candle dragon's voice replied,
As long as you don't damage the origin ancestral land, you can fight.
That was almost nonsense. How could great Tao lords fight in the ancestral land without causing damage? Lin Moyu sighed.
Looks like I'll have to let them live a little longer.
He'd waited for them for hundreds of years, and still they escaped. The candle dragon suddenly said,
You can fight in the heaven and earth battlefield.
Lin Moyu was taken aback.
Heaven and earth battlefield? When you enter the origin ancestral land, you'll understand.
The candle dragon said, then closed its eyes and vanished. This time, when the candle dragon closed its eyes, Lin Moyu didn't feel the world overturn as before. He knew it was because he had become a great Tao Lord and was now immune. The world overturning feeling wasn't intentional on the candle dragon's part, it was a natural effect. But great Tao Lords were exempt. Looking at the still running formation, Lin Moyu sighed and waved his hand to deactivate it. With a thought, The origin ancestral lands projection appeared. The passage opened, and Lin Moyu stepped inside. Chapter 4041. Fellow Taoist, please register. With Lin Moyu's departure, the great battle ended. The Taoists returned, and everything settled back to peace. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. One Tao Lord sighed.
It's finally over. Thankfully, Lin Moyu stepped in and resolved the crisis.
Someone grumbled.
Weren't those two great Tao Lords brought here by him in the first place?
Someone immediately retorted.
And who caused the origin catastrophe? In a vast world, with the hardships of cultivation, anything can happen. If you blame others for everything, you might as well live as an ordinary person for 100 years. Isn't that good enough?
Someone else said quietly.
True experts never blame their environment. If you say things like that, it just means your Tao heart isn't firm, and your life will go no further.
In this world, accidents are everywhere. Even if you don't provoke others, others might come for you. Back during the origin catastrophe, the origin continent hadn't provoked anyone, and the world will only wanted to become strong enough to reach eternity. But the Black Blood Realm and Celestial Realm still came knocking. Who could the world will complain to? No matter the reason, in the end, Lin Moyu solved the problem and drove off the two great Tao Lords. That was enough. Lin Moyu's strength was once again proven. He forced two great Tao Lords to flee in disgrace, a feat beyond imagination. As for where Lin Moyu went in the end, only a few Tao Lords could guess. Long Yi, seeing the outcome, said,
Lin Moyu really did have a plan. He wanted to kill those two great Tao Lords, but in the end, he still didn't manage it.
And Terry said,
Those two won't live much longer. Lin Moyu won't let them go.
Long Yi replied,
You really have a lot of faith in him.
And Terry snorted,
I watched him grow up. I know what kind of person he is.
Long Yi was interested.
Tell me more.
The aura of the great Tao swept over him as Lin Moyu stepped into the origin ancestral land once again. It had been several thousand years since his last visit. For the origin ancestral land, that was just the blink of an eye. Nothing had changed. As soon as he entered, Lin Moyu received some information. He now knew what he had to do and what rules he had to follow in the origin ancestral land. These rules hadn't existed last time because he was still weak then and posed no threat to the Taoists of the ancestral land. Now it was different. If he wished, he could easily shatter a Tao, so heaven and earth had set some rules. He could fight in the origin ancestral land, just as the Candle Dragon had said, as long as he didn't damage any Tao. If he did, heaven and earth would punish him severely, so severely that even a great Tao Lord would be skinned alive if not killed. This rule was basically telling him, fighting here is asking for trouble. While telling him the rules, the world also told him what to do. He had to reach the heaven and earth battlefield within a year. The origin ancestral land would guide him. He just had to follow. For a great Tao Lord, the Taoists in the origin ancestral land were now useless. There was no point in wasting time comprehending them. Lin Moyu flew up, looking down on the origin ancestral land from above. Last time he couldn't do this. Now he could. The Taoists stood like pillars, reaching from earth to sky, forming a giant divine rune. This time Lin Moyu understood the rune's function was to suppress. Guard, seal, suppress, all were contained within.
What is the origin ancestral land suppressing?
Lin Moyu was puzzled, but he knew he'd get the answer at the heaven and earth battlefield. The origin ancestral land pointed the way straight to the battlefield. He was given a year, but at his speed, he could get there in 2 days. Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry. He flew slowly through the ancestral land, passing by countless Taoists, admiring them and studying the divine rune. He realized this rune was not man-made, but naturally formed by heaven and earth, a primordial rune with extraordinary power. All Taoists were connected to this rune without exception. The rune not only suppressed something, but also all the Taoists themselves. It reminded Lin Moyu of the origin spirit veins. The rune was much like the divine continent cauldron. Without the rune's suppression, even the heaven Taoists would likely run wild.
There aren't many empty spots left on the rune. It looks like the Taoists are almost full. Once they are, no new Daos will appear. If the number of Daos is limited, does that mean the world's capacity is limited too? How was this limit set? Was it determined at the beginning of heaven and earth? Why are some worlds stronger or weaker, and why are some worlds so much harder to transcend? Could there be even harsher worlds than this one?
Thinking these thoughts, Lin Moyu passed the myriad Daos and, after 2 months, arrived at his destination. He reached the edge of the origin ancestral land, leaving all the Daos behind. Here, a massive curtain of light stood like a world barrier, stretching to the sky and dividing the ancestral land in two.
Beyond the curtain is the heaven and earth battlefield.
Lin Moyu's mind was clear. He didn't enter immediately, instead quietly observing. Within the curtain were countless divine runes. The origin ancestral land seemed to be intimately connected to these runes. They were everywhere, some visible, most hidden. Strictly speaking, this world was inseparable from divine runes. The runes were not a single Tao, but the foundation running through all of heaven and earth. Lin Moyu studied the curtain for a long time, memorizing its runes. Their function was strength and stability. The runes overlapped, making the curtain incredibly strong. Lin Moyu felt that even if he used his full power and the world-ending palm, he might not be able to break it. The key was that the runes were not complex, but when combined, their effect was astonishing.
So, simplicity is also a path.
Lin Moyu sighed, understanding a new principle and deepening his comprehension of divine runes a worthwhile gain. Half a year had passed since he entered the origin ancestral land. Lin Moyu finally touched the curtain. A gap appeared, and a gentle suction wrapped around him, pulling him in. He passed through the curtain and experienced a brief teleportation. A vast, desolate aura greeted him. In his vision appeared a massive canyon, its metallic sheen like steel extraordinary at a glance. The material forming the canyon was of an extremely high grade, unlike anything Lin Moyu had ever seen. He felt that unless he used the world-ending palm, he might not be able to damage it. On the canyon walls were countless claw marks and sword scars, each one carrying immense power, all at the level of a great Tao Lord. The desolate aura carried a familiar scent, and Lin Moyu unconsciously muttered,
Heavenly Tao wild beasts.
A thought flashed through his mind: could the enemies on the heaven and earth battlefield be wild beasts of the great Tao? Just then, a voice called out,
Fellow Taoists, please come register.
Chapter 4042, Humiliation. A great Tao Lord stood not far away, his aura fluctuating violently, clearly having just experienced a fierce battle. He kept a certain distance from Lin Moyu, not disturbing him at first. After waiting a while, when Lin Moyu had finished his observations, he finally spoke, showing great courtesy. Lin Moyu walked over and greeted him.
Lin Moyu greets fellow Taoist.
The other was also human, and judging by his aura, cultivated a water-type Great Tao, though it didn't seem to be an origin Great Tao, likely a branch Great Tao. There are countless Great Taos, and any of them can lead to becoming a Great Tao Lord, so this was not surprising. The other replied in kind.
I am Meng Rahai. Greetings, Taoist Lin. Please come with me for registration.
Lin Moyu nodded.
Fellow Taoist Meng, may I ask, what does registration mean?
Meng Ruahai explained.
We have set up many formations here. Once registered, you can move freely in this place. Otherwise, you'll face many restrictions.
Lin Moyu had indeed seen many formations, but in his eyes, they weren't much at most. They'd take some time to break. But since there was a rule for registration, he wouldn't go against it. This place had existed for countless years and had its own rules. On the way, Meng Ruahai briefly introduced the heaven and earth battlefield environment.
These mountains are called Origin Mountains. They are neither metal nor iron, but of very special existence. They are extremely sturdy no matter how hard we attack. We can only make tiny marks. And the Origin Mountains are constantly changing. Some sink, some rise, some expand outward, and some contract. The terrain shifts, rising and falling unpredictably, but all the formations you see are set according to the terrain. If the terrain changes, the formations are destroyed.
Meng Ruohai saw Lin Moyu's confusion and added,
Their rate of change is very slow on the scale of 10,000 years. So we just adjust the formations as needed.
Lin Moyu said,
Fellow Taoist Meng, I see these formations are not weak, but not particularly strong either. With the ability of a great Tao Lord, if someone wanted to force their way in, it wouldn't be impossible.
Meng Ruohai's eyes lit up.
Taoist Lin is also skilled in formations?
Lin Moyu replied modestly,
Just a little, I only know the basics.
Meng Ruohai chuckled, not revealing whether he believed Lin Moyu. Calmly, he said,
The main purpose of the formations isn't to kill, but to provide early warning and block enemies. For example, as soon as you entered the origin ancestral land, we knew, and we could pinpoint exactly when you arrived at the heaven and earth battlefield.
Lin Moyu was a bit surprised he'd been monitored without noticing at all.
Looks like I underestimated the formation masters here.
He understood now. The formation masters had used formations to bridge the heaven and earth battlefield and the origin ancestral land, using the Daos there to sense his presence. Here, the power of the great Daos was everywhere, making them the perfect channel. Lin Moyu didn't dwell on the formation issue.
Who are our enemies?
He had some guesses but wanted to ask anyway. Meng Ruohai said,
We have two types of enemies. First are the Tao wild beasts. I'm sure you've seen them before, maybe even fought them.
Lin Moyu nodded slightly.
I have indeed fought them.
Meng Ruohai continued,
The second enemy, we call heaven and earth spirit demons.
Spirit demons? Lin Moyu had never heard of them and asked,
Could you explain further, fellow Taoist Meng?
Meng Ruohai smiled.
You'll understand soon enough. Let's register first.
Ahead, a tall mountain appeared. It had been invisible until they got close, then suddenly emerged. Lin Moyu could tell the entire mountain was shrouded in formations. If you were far away, it would disappear from view. At the mountain's summit stood a palace named Tao Lord Hall. Lin Moyu saw at a glance that this Tao Lord Hall was a powerful artifact. Outside the hall, many were chatting and drinking tea. These were all great Tao Lords. Though from different races, most had taken human form. A few had not, but they had shrunk their bodies to human size. Lin Moyu observed that the Tao Lord Hall sat at the core of a great formation, which coordinated all the other formations. Suddenly, Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed. He spotted two old acquaintances, the God of Light and the Lord of Darkness. They were here too. He couldn't help but smile, his eyes showing excitement. Meng Ruohai noticed Lin Moyu's reaction.
Taoist Lin, what's wrong?
Lin Moyu smiled.
I see two old acquaintances.
Meng Ruohai followed his gaze and saw the God of Light and Lord of Darkness. He was puzzled.
The great Tao Lord of Light and the great Tao Lord of Darkness, how are they together?
Light and darkness are opposites. Their great Tao Lords shouldn't even be friends, let alone allies. Lin Moyu laughed.
Fellow Taoist Meng, if two enemy wild dogs run into a tiger at the same time, what do you think will happen?
Meng Ruohai thought for a moment and immediately understood.
You mean they've come together because they have a common enemy?
Lin Moyu smiled.
It's not the best analogy, but that's about right. Unfortunately, even two wild dogs together are no match for a tiger.
At that moment, the God of Light and Lord of Darkness noticed Lin Moyu. Their expressions changed dramatically, killing intent rising. Meng Ruohai now fully understood Lin Moyu was the
tiger,
and the great Tao Lords of Light and Darkness had joined forces because of him. But was this newly advanced great Tao Lord really that strong? He knew the God of Light and Lord of Darkness were very powerful, having been great Tao Lords for a long time. Lin Moyu spoke.
You two ran pretty fast last time, but now that you're here, where do you think you can run to?
The Lord of Darkness said coldly.
We underestimated you before. Now, on the heaven and earth battlefield, let's fight again and see who dies first.
The God of Light sneered.
Don't think you're so great just because you got lucky last time. It's not clear who will win.
Their words drew the attention of many. Quite a few great Tao Lords who had been chatting and drinking tea turned to look. Just a few sentences, and these great Tao lords already understood what was happening. Lin Moyu smiled.
Back when we first fought, I was just a Tao Lord, and I still drove you both to flee to the origin ancestral land for your lives. Now that I'm a great Tao Lord, what can you do but wait for death?
Lin Moyu's words were blunt, exposing the two's humiliation for all to see. Being forced to flee to the origin ancestral land by a Tao Lord, what a disgrace for a great Tao Lord. The God of Light and Lord of Darkness looked utterly mortified, feeling like the laughingstock of everyone present. At that moment, a delighted voice called out,
Taoist Lin, you're here too.
Chapter 4043, The Structure of the Heaven and Earth Battlefield. The Lord of Life, radiating pure white light, stepped gracefully out of the Tao Lord Hall. She looked at Lin Moyu with a smile in her eyes.
Congratulations, Taoist Lin, on becoming a great Tao Lord.
Lin Moyu smiled.
It's been many years, Taoist Xingxin. I hope you've been well.
Meng Ruohai suddenly laughed.
So Taoist Lin knows Taoist Xingxin. Then I'll trouble Taoist Xingxin to handle the registration, all right?
Xingxin smiled.
Of course, leave the registration to me.
It was clear that Xingxin had an excellent relationship with everyone here. The other great Tao lords, whether human or from other races, all looked at Xingxin with goodwill. Lin Moyu could easily guess why. Xingxin was the Lord of Life, and when it came to healing, few could claim to be above her. This was the heaven and earth battlefield, and most great Tao lords here would be injured at some point. Great Tao lords aren't afraid of minor wounds, but serious injuries, especially soul injuries, are hard to recover from and can even lead to long periods of slumber. That's where Xingxin's value shone. Her life great Tao could heal everyone. Some wounds were so strange that only the life great Tao could treat them. Plus, Xingxin was easygoing, so over time her status among the others became irreplaceable. Lin Moyu descended, and Xingxin led him into the Tao Lord Hall for registration. At this moment, everyone looked at the God of Light and the Lord of Darkness with odd expressions. Lin Moyu was Shangxin's friend, which made him everyone's friend, while those two were his sworn enemies. That made things interesting. A great Tao Lord remarked,
If I remember right, the Lord of Darkness was seriously injured last time, and it was Taoist Xingxin who healed him with all her strength.
Someone else agreed.
Yes, if not for Taoist Xingxin, he'd probably still be unconscious. This time, he's an enemy of Xingxin's friend. I wonder if she'll still help him if he gets hurt again. Who knows? She probably will. Taoist Xingxin is kind, not like some people.
As everyone discussed the Lord of Darkness, his expression became wonderfully twisted. The God of Light was ignored. He'd slept so long that people had forgotten him. Here, he was just a newcomer and not very important. Even if his strength was above the average great Tao Lord, there were still the Eternals above him, so no one had to show him any respect. The God of Light and Lord of Darkness exchanged glances.
Let's go.
The two left, distancing themselves from the gossip. Inside the Tao Lord Hall, Xingxin asked,
Taoist Lin, do you have a grudge with those two?
Lin Moyu nodded.
With the God of Light, it's a blood feud. As for the Lord of Darkness, it's nothing major. When I was a Tao Lord, I forced him into the origin ancestral land, and he felt humiliated, so he's always wanted to get even.
Xingxin said.
Do you need me to mediate?
Lin Moyu shook his head.
Thank you for your kindness, Taoist Xingxin, but I don't take those two seriously.
Xingxin didn't insist. Since Lin Moyu said no, she believed him. Lin Moyu looked around the Tao Lord Hall. The setup was simple. Apart from a special half-person tall pillar in the center, there were just some meditation mats and a small dais, likely for lectures. Xingxin led Lin Moyu to the central pillar.
Taoist Lin, just inject your soul power into it.
Lin Moyu did as instructed. As his soul power entered, the formation inside the pillar lit up. The formation recorded Lin Moyu's soul aura, and all the other formations it controlled did the same. From now on, Lin Moyu could move freely throughout the heaven and earth battlefield. As the formation recorded his soul aura, information also flowed into Lin Moyu's mind. The information detailed the heaven and earth battlefield and its enemies far more thoroughly than Meng Ruohai's earlier introduction. The heaven and earth battlefield has existed since the beginning of the world. When the world was born, countless great Daos evolved, and then the origin ancestral land appeared to contain them. But the myriad great Daos weren't pure. They had impurities and filth. These impurities were stripped away during evolution, gathered together, and ultimately became the Dao wild beasts. The Dao wild beasts' home is also in the origin ancestral land, separated from the great Daos by the world itself, and the region between them is the heaven and earth battlefield. Because the Dao wild beasts are fundamentally filthy, they instinctively crave pure great Daos and constantly try to break through and devour, absorb, and refine them. Of course, the great Daos cannot be devoured. If they were, the world would collapse, so heaven and earth command the great Dao lords to come and stop the Dao wild beasts. This is a mandate of heaven and earth and cannot be refused. As for the heaven and earth spirit demons, they are a special kind of being. No one knows their origin, but they are ancient, seemingly present since the dawn of the world. They occupy a special region, but no one knows exactly where. All that's known is that the spirit demons appear periodically and also try to invade the myriad great Daos. According to previous analyses, they seem to want to use the great Daos as a road to enter the heart of the world. What surprised Lin Moyu was that the information on the spirit demons didn't come from great Dao lords, but from the few eternal beings. The heaven and earth battlefield is divided into two parts. The outer battlefield, guarded by the great Dao lords, and the inner battlefield, guarded by the Eternals. Some great Dao lords have entered the inner battlefield and brought back information, saying it is even more dangerous and the battles are fiercer. To become a great Dao lord is to guard all of heaven and earth, maintaining the normal operation of the world. This is the duty of a great Dao lord. After reading all this, Lin Moyu sighed.
This world really is far from peaceful.
Xingxin asked.
Taoist Lin, what do you think of the heaven and earth battlefield?
Lin Moyu replied.
People think that the higher your cultivation, the greater your rights. That's true, but actually, the higher you go, the greater your responsibilities. There are only a few thousand great Dao lords, and just a dozen or so Eternals, but we have to bear the burden of guarding the world. Outsiders just don't understand.
Xingxin said.
Yes, the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. We've thought about eradicating the Dao wild beasts and spirit demons completely, but...
Lin Moyu interrupted.
But it's impossible. As long as the world and the great Daos exist, so will they. They are like the shadow side of the world coexisting with it. Wanting a once and for all solution is impossible, but...
Xingxin asked.
But what?
Lin Moyu said.
But maybe there are other ways to reduce the pressure on the battlefield.
His eyes flashed as he fell into deep thought, considering some possibilities. Xingxin didn't disturb him, instead standing guard and preventing anyone else from interrupting. Chapter 4044. Heaven and Earth are not perfect. Arriving at the heaven and earth battlefield and learning about the enemies faced by great Dao lords and eternal beings, Lin Moyu fully constructed the model of this world in his mind. The structure of this heaven and earth was now clear to him, and he realized it was fundamentally different from the Great Thousand World. He saw many imperfections in this world. Dao wild beasts were one such flaw. As for the heaven and earth spirit demons, though their origins were unclear, it seemed they too were born from the world's imperfections. There were also soul-devouring spirits, which arose from impurities in the world and constantly wandered beyond, driven by an instinct to destroy. Beyond that, there was the origin ancestral land. Though it appeared to radiate across all worlds, the Daos available to each world were never complete. There was always something lacking. From these imperfections in every world, it was clear this heaven and earth was itself not perfect. The land of return was the same. Why could it originally only hold 18 great Daos? Then 20 after some were recognized by heaven and earth. When Lin Moyu's immortality great Dao descended, why could the land of return still accommodate it, even though it was supposedly at its limit? Did this mean the land of return's limit was far from reached, and that the so-called limit was just the limit set by the world's rules? Compared to his own great thousand world, this world was far more robust, with no separation between the myriad Daos and a much greater capacity for power. But compared to the world where the Myriad Spirits Pavilion was located, this place was still superior. At least it could contain far more power, and the Daos were not isolated from each other. At this moment, Lin Moyu pondered many things, from the world's imperfections to the enemies he was about to face. Dao wild beasts were no problem. He'd killed many, and unless he encountered a Dao wild beast king, he had nothing to fear. However, those he'd fought before were all in the soul void. Dao wild beasts with physical bodies were much stronger. A Dao wild beast king was no weaker than a great Dao lord, and whenever one was injured, it was usually by a Dao wild beast king. In this battlefield, ordinary Dao wild beasts were just extras with little real impact. As for the heaven and earth spirit demons, he would have to see them to know more. For now, he couldn't judge. A suspicion grew in Lin Moyu's mind. Could there be some connection between the spirit demons and the soul-devouring spirits? Of all the information, the most interesting wasn't the Dao wild beasts or the spirit demons, but the origin mountains. These strange mountains, scattered throughout the battlefield and constantly rising and falling, were incredibly tough. Even a great Dao Lord using a Dao Lord level artifact could only leave a mark or a tiny scratch. But if a divine rune was inscribed on them, the rune would fuse perfectly, forming a formation. Thus, the origin mountains became the best foundation for formations.
I'll have to study them carefully when I get the chance.
Lin Moyu muttered. Nearby, Xingxin asked,
Taoist Lin, what do you want to study?
Opening his eyes to see Shangxin's bright smile, Lin Moyu replied,
The origin mountains. I think they're fascinating and want to research them.
Xingxin said,
The origin mountains are indeed interesting and excellent for setting up formations, but aside from that, they don't seem to have any other use. Almost every great Dao Lord here has studied them, but no one has found another use.
That was true if he could see the uniqueness of the origin mountains. Surely others had as well, and after so many years, everything worth studying had been studied. Lin Moyu asked,
If you took a piece of an origin mountain to forge a weapon, what would happen?
Xingxin replied,
Someone tried that once. They managed to break off a tiny piece, but as soon as it left the mountain, it disintegrated like dust.
Lin Moyu was surprised.
It actually does that?
Xingxin nodded.
Yes, and every time someone tries, it triggers a reaction from the origin mountain, forcing all the formations to be rebuilt. So there's an unwritten rule now. No one is allowed to mess with the origin mountains themselves. Studying is fine, but don't try to take pieces away.
Lin Moyu smiled.
I understand. Thank you for the reminder, Taoist Xingxin.
Xingxin replied,
No need to be so polite. I never properly thanked you for what you did before, Taoist Lin.
Lin Moyu said,
Then could I trouble you, Taoist Xingxin, to show me around the heaven and earth battlefield? Of course.
Xingxin was delighted, her face beaming. The two left the Dao Lord Hall, with Xingxin leading Lin Moyu elsewhere. The heaven and earth battlefield was filled with formations, large formations nested with small ones, and small ones linked to even larger ones. Many of these formations had overlapping functions, and sometimes hundreds of formations with the same function were nested together. To someone not skilled in formations, this would seem inefficient. Why use hundreds of formations when one big one would do? In most places that would be true, but here it made sense. The origin mountains shifted, and the terrain changed. Every time it did, formations could fail. If only one big formation was used, even a change of half a meter or a meter in a few origin mountains could cause the whole thing to fail. The bigger the formation, the harder it was to repair, and if it failed, the early warning system would be lost, putting the great Dao Lords at a disadvantage. But with this system of nested formations, even if the terrain changed a lot, only some small formations would be affected. No matter how much the terrain shifted, not all the formations would fail at once. The early warning system would remain intact, and that was enough. Plus, the formations were interconnected, so if something went wrong, the formation master would be alerted and could fix it in time. Lin Moyu and Xingxin flew slowly among the mountains as she explained.
The entire heaven and earth battlefield starts from our headquarters at Dao Lord Peak and is about 50 million li deep and 10 million li wide. Most formations are concentrated in the first 3 million li, covering about 90% of the area. The remaining 10% are in the next 5 million li, but those are fewer and harder to maintain, easily destroyed by changes in the origin mountains. In the first 3 million li, about 70% of the formations are for early warning, 20% are for confusing and trapping enemies, and the last 10% are killing formations.
What Lin Moyu saw matched Xingxin's explanation. The two passed through the mountains and came to a plain. A faint stench lingered there, the stench of the great Tao, undetectable to ordinary people, but powerful cultivators could sense it with their souls. The source was curses, impurities, and filth of the great Tao. Lin Moyu had smelled something similar before, when facing the Lord of Curses. At that time, the Lord of Curses had spread his filth into the Black Blood realm, which gave off a similar odor. But the Black Blood realm's stench was even worse, indicating the Lord of Curses had been even more polluted then. Xingxin said,
"This is one of the battlefields. Not long ago, a great battle took place here, and many Dao wild beasts died, including 2 Dao wild beast kings. The curses they left behind will linger for a while."
Lin Moyu asked,
"How strong are Dao wild beasts here?"
Xingxin replied,
"Ordinary Dao wild beasts are weaker than great Dao lords. Dao wild beast kings are a bit stronger than great Dao lords and require several to work together to kill one.